How's everybody? Good. Well, we've had really good work so far as a team. I've been really pleased with sort of the energy and enthusiasm the players have had in terms of how they've gone about the work we did prior to practice as well as since we started practice. We practiced Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, and today. So I think it's important that, players have a vision of what they want to try to accomplish, the opportunity that they've created for themselves, and a vision of what they want to try to do, and that's everybody in the organization. And then everybody's got to take ownership to try to do their job and be responsible for what's expected of them, which goes for me, the coaches, all the players. And then everybody's got to have faith, trust, and confidence in themselves and their ability to do it relative to the challenge they have with the team that we're playing, and they have to have faith, trust, and confidence in their teammates. So we actually started working on Clemson yesterday as if it was a Monday practice, so we'll continue to do that for the rest of the week, and Friday will be our last practice day, and then we'll be off 3 days for Christmas. We'll practice here on the 26th. We'll leave on the morning of the 27th to go to New Orleans, and we will, practice there. From an injury standpoint, I'm sure everybody heard about, Dylan Moses' foot injury, which required a pin in his foot, very similar to what Mac and LeBron Ray had, same kind of injury. So he'll be out indefinitely. Those guys, all were out for 3 to 4 weeks before they could do much. And Deonte Thompson had a lower leg bruise, but he actually practiced today. So it's not really a problem. From a recruiting standpoint, this is all kind of new for us. But, the early signing period, I guess, is some kind of an indication of what kind of recruiting that you're doing. We're very pleased and happy with the 15 players that we were able to sign to Alabama today. I think there's a lot to do to finish this class, and we can only take 23 guys this year, so we basically have 8 spots left. I think these signings today represent a lot of hard work. And, the coaches did a good job, a lot of our players, the team we have here at Alabama, the academic folks, when these guys visit, our administration, all did a very good job. So we've kind of identified our needs, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to finish with a lot of good players who are left out there that are going to wait till February or maybe sign in the next 2 days. But we really can't comment on that. Josh is going to give you guys a release on these 15 players. So that'll give you probably the information that you need on each and every one of these players.
Coach, on recruiting, in most years you like to sign and have at least one quarterback in your class. Is that something you'd still like to do between now and February, or is that necessary this year with both guys coming back?
Well, we have tried to recruit a quarterback, and we're going to continue to try to do that. And if we can get somebody that we feel can be a positive in the organization, we would certainly like to get a quarterback. I would always like to have 4 on the roster. That may or may not be possible. We'll have to make that decision based on how the recruiting continues to go.
Stay over there with Reiner.
Looking at the running back rotation, how hard has it been or how challenging has it been to kind of divvy up the carries? And do you think a player like Damian Harris could conceivably get the ball more in the semifinal game?
Well, I don't know. There's only one ball. I've answered this question before. So you're asking me, do I think everybody's getting enough carries? Then you ask me if one of the guys can get more carries. There's still only one ball, and we're only going to run the ball so many times. So, we're going to have a plan for how we want to try to play the guys in the game. And the guys that are playing well in the game usually get to play a little bit more, and maybe they'll get a few more touches. But we certainly have 4 guys that we've tried to have a plan for. 3 of them have played, pretty extensively and all made a real significant contribution this year, and we want them to continue to do it. But what I talked about earlier, of everyone taking ownership for whatever their job is in this game and whatever opportunities they get, we want them to be very well prepared so that they can go out there and do a great job, and that would be the same case whatever the role is for these running backs.
Come back over here with Chandler. Right.
Given how senior heavy your secondary is, how vital was it to go out and address that with this recruiting class? And what have you seen from the guys that maybe could come in and provide depth right away?
Well, I think that we still feel like we're recruiting several other defensive backs, and I think, we're probably going to lose 5, maybe more. So we would like to replace that many guys. So whether that's going to be possible or not, I don't know. I know that we're recruiting several other guys that we feel like are really good players that may be able to contribute to it. We feel really good about the 3 players that we got today that are DBs. We feel like they're all really, really good athletes, really good players. Jalen Armour-Davis, we think, is a very skilled guy. Savion Smith is here and practicing, and we can see with our own eyes that he's going to be a very good player. And Josh Jobe is, was one of the target guys that we've had, all year long. And like I said, there's still other guys out there that we think are very good that could help us in a secondary as well.
Back over to John Senior, front middle.
This is more of a big picture question, but Clemson lost about as many really key players on offense last year as you guys did on defense. What does it say about the stability of a program that you can kind of not miss much of a beat even when losing that kind of talent?
Well, we're pleased with, the way some of the guys on our team accepted the challenges of their new role on the team, and those guys made progress and improved throughout the year and played very well for us. But we still have a tremendous amount of respect for some of the guys that we lost and the great job that they did in their careers here at Alabama. From Clemson's standpoint, they have really good players. They recruit well. And the guys that they've had step in on offense have done a fantastic job for them this year, starting with the quarterback, the receivers, the new running backs. Those guys have all been very effective for them, and they are almost as productive offensively as they were a year ago.
Back over here with Charlie.
You mentioned Savion. Just how much does his past experience kind of potentially help your secondary for the future?
Well, I think anytime you get a guy that's played in major college football games before and probably knows a little bit more about what it takes, probably has a little more maturity, I think that's always probably a positive for a guy in terms of his readiness to come in and play. But we're excited that he's here, and we're excited to have the opportunity to work with him even in this time, which is a little more difficult now that we're working on an opponent. But he's still out there getting reps, and we're still trying to coach him and teach him what he needs to know to make a contribution.
Go in the middle here with Michael.
It's now that this early period is winding down, how does the dynamic change moving forward with the second phase of that recruiting calendar leading up to February? How's that different this year?
Well, I can't tell you because I've never done it before. I just know there's a lot of stuff going on here right now, trying to prepare for a playoff game, trying to recruit. The intensity in recruiting in December and the schedule was much more hectic and much more difficult relative to trying to see more players who you thought were going to sign at mid-year or sign early, maybe even if they weren't mid-year guys. So it's different. So I would say now that we're going to recruit the rest of this recruiting cycle pretty much like it's been in the past, because there's just going to be a smaller pool of players. But I can't answer the question because I have no experience at this.
We'll finish up here with Alex unless we got anything else.
Ask you about Deonte Thompson. Obviously, maybe a little bit limited today, but what do you kind of hope to see from him, this opportunity now to maybe step out as a frontline guy, and what does his role and how might that change what Minka does at the star or safety?
Well, we'll have to make a decision on that. We're kind of working several different combinations right now, but we have a lot of confidence in Deonte. He's really, improved a lot throughout the course of the year in terms of his knowledge and experience and understanding of what's expected of him. He has really good range, and we need him to play well for us, and we certainly feel like he's capable of doing that. And when he's had the opportunity to play this year, he's played well for us. So I'm not happy that Hootie's not going to be here, and he's a senior, and we'd love to see him be able to compete in these playoff games. But excited for Deonte and the opportunity that he may have.
Okay, Coach, that was the last question.
All right, thanks, guys.